Next to me here is Bruce King. He is Oneida. Is that right?
That's right.
Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Not New York.
Not New York.
Well, same
Not
thing.
London, Ontario.
Oneida from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce King lives here in Santa Fe.
Lives here in Santa Fe.
Yep. Okay. What I found most interesting about this whole thing was that the Department of Justice issued a memo in December saying to state attorneys and DOJ officials and pretty much the whole federal justice system saying, leave the tribes alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that was pretty unprecedented, I thought.
Well, I think the precedent, of course, was passing the domestic violence issue that brought all of the other things along. Of course, now they have to recognize tribes' legal right to pass jurisdiction on their own reservations. But again, it's like, well, these agencies, outside agencies, want to be in a position of picking and choosing exactly what that's going to be. And again, we have to understand that, on most reservations, the economies are so not only corruptible, but there are people of willful characterizations who will control those things. And even in the old days, it was all the E.O.E. Johnson, seat of money that came down through the tribal government, and we saw an example of that very control and corruption, and brought us to our present day state of mind where tribal councils are concerned. And now until that, we deal with that as as Indian people, and recognize the fact that, that establishment is just really one of monitoring and watchdogging and gatekeeping. Until we recognize that and start changing that system, all this other stuff is going to be in somebody else's hands.
Okay. All right. And so the other thing that I wrote was that if we were to legalize pot, I mean, some people would say, yes, it's our sovereign right. And then some people, like Ellen Fills the Pipe, who was described by Smell the Truth, an online news source dedicated to the coverage of medical marijuana and cannabis industries, as, quote, the owner of the most ironic tribal name in existence, who will likely oppose the newly relaxed law due to her background in law enforcement. But Ellen Fills the Pipe is against filling the pipe. So, but no, what I found most interesting about this was that you have people who are against it, but who also want the feds to come onto tribal land and enforce laws, like domestic violence, right, against non-Indians, right. So I was like, okay, where do we find that balance?
Right. Well, again, and it's probably not just Indians, but everybody needs to quit buying into this mythology of expertise.
Okay.
People, well, it's just like everybody thinks that things that have to happen on an international or a global arena have to refer to the experts, like the Pentagon, like the government, and until we recognize that and start saying, okay, we would like to do some of the thinking ourselves, and use our own sovereignty or idea of sovereignty as a framework for that. Well, we pretty much defer that sort of attitude to someone else. And, so it affects everything. It affects healthcare. It affects, like you say, economics. It affects, our communities out there in the plains. And, what a myth it is that the gaming enterprise is the answer, All we have to do is look around nowadays and see all the monoliths of operations that are in trouble, that's just not true.
Okay.
And it's done what it's always done. It's created a class of elite, and a class of those who have and those who have not.